How does that... Stay the fuck away, stay the fuck away. Stay the fuck away, stay the fuck away. Good evening, everyone. Sean Patrick here. And this isn't New Zealand, but there were bunnies in my yard this weekend, and they were tasty. Now, I want to send virtual hugs and kisses to everyone that resisted the temptation to break the necessary health regulations to visit people, not only this weekend, but thus far into this epidemic. Sorry, Matthew's mom. Cheers. Rioja. Now, over the weekend, I took some time to read to the children, and I even did a very exclusive subscribers-only reading. I also watched the seating. This should have been done by video conference, and it was an amazingly irresponsible thing for it to happen because, one, it forced many possible community transmissions, not only between the politicians themselves, but their support team. Two, it made it impossible for many MPs to attend and participate. And three, it would have been way cheaper to do this electronically. Well, wow. While watching this train wreck, I started to think for a moment that maybe I was being too hard on journalists. This is because I've never seen such a vulgar display of whiny bitching. There was constant, why didn't you do this? You should have done that. There was a full-on venomous badgering of the Liberals to admit that they had received an intelligence briefing on the dangers of the icky in January. Well, that information is part of a multinational intelligence committee, which every politician should be aware of this fact. Said information must be kept in the strictest confidence, or they get kicked out of the club for blabbing. That's why on Friday, the Prime Minister couldn't set the reporters straight who tried to claim that the very same document was from March. I hope it was merely a mistake on the reporter's part, but it was a really big one. And seeing this, I realized that journalists were obviously emulating the politicians, and that's why I don't owe them an apology. It's pathetic enough to see an adult acting that way, but if you as a human think that's a good role model... And there are many questions about specific cases and whether or not this particular constituent would be eligible for the CERD. These are federal ministers, not caseworkers. They can't comment on the status of the claim Jeremy and Ron's cucumber farm made. That's not their job. Yes, the program has holes in, and yes, they'll all take time to work out. But what's going on here is making legislation at the speed of light. It has to be done now and tweaked as it goes, just like all other legislation, before it can become nearly universal. These are things to be addressed in emails, not things to risk your life over while spending taxpayer money to do so. And when the question was very respectfully asked as to why a physical seating was necessary when more MPs could have participated if it were done electronically, the response was, well, I see MPs from all over. Look around. There was some fun, though. According to the translator, as it was spoken in French, sometimes trying to come to an agreement with some people is, quote, like trying to eat an apple through a tennis racket. I'd never even thought of that before, so I wanted to try it. But my wife pointed out that I don't have a tennis racket. In fact, I don't have an apple either. And in the end, the bill was passed unchanged, thus proving that sometimes it just isn't good enough to say, amigo, stay 6 feet away from me. In the multi-minister's address, there was a doozy. The ministers were queried as to why they were giving farmers $1,500 per migrant worker. Why are we giving them assistance? Let me ask you this. Do you like food? It doesn't just spring up out of the ground and fall into trucks as they drive by on their way to market. These workers are going to be putting food on our tables. Just like everyone else coming into this country, they have to observe the quarantine order. Aside from the fact that proper accommodations and food must be provided for them during this time, they also have to be paid, even though they cannot yet work. This money isn't as much assistance as it is a thank you card. Since our government was hounded into releasing the useless and confusing modeling numbers, many others are posting their own models. And it is really important to not only remember that these are just possibilities, they are very easily flawed and taken out of context. Many graphs I've seen compare numbers of deaths from various countries. The number of deaths are up to date. Even though all countries represented have different populations, different levels of testing, have applied different strategies, and started into their epidemic phases at different times. It's like comparing poutine to ramen to bangers and mash. Even though the people speaking are doctors and their actual message is correct, in the need for understanding in this time, mistakes are made. So please remember, research, then react. And until we meet again, stay the fuck away from each other and wash everything. A lot. Yeah, that ought to do it.